Hi there, I'm Trunks from Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and these are the Anime Egotists. You know, in the future, podcasts are a little bit different. They're actually from pods. You know, people trying to hide from the androids and everything. I had a favorite podcast for a while, but it got canceled. By the androids. They got killed by the androids. Don't get killed by the androids!
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where I'm glad neither one of us have the Byakugan.
Nah, we'd be side branches and cursed to just do the bidding of the main branch.
No, I'd just be too scared I would blink or something, and that would mess it up somehow.
Somehow I think mine was worse.
Yeah. Anyways, my name's Alex, and ultimately, to this day, I still don't know. Is Hyuga with one U or two U's? Because I feel like it goes both ways.
I think it's just one. And I'm Richard.
That's right. And we love Naruto, but one of the characters that we love specifically is Neji Hyuga.
Yeah, he was this prodigy, supposed to be this badass, and unfortunately he doesn't get that much screen time.
Yeah, because look, as much as we love Naruto, as much as we love Kishimoto and all he's done, there are a good amount of characters that just did not live up to their potential. You could argue that Neji is towards the top of that list, but that list would be pretty long, so you could also argue he's towards the bottom of it, and you could probably still be correct.
Yeah, he has his moments, but just based on how he's kind of introduced, you'd expect a lot out of him, and we don't necessarily get that.
Yeah, but that's what we're here to do today. Not necessarily point out the flaws, but just to do our own version of how would we fix Neji? How would we take him as a character with great potential but no payoff, from great potential to somewhat better payoff?
Yeah, so I guess we should probably start at the beginning of his introduction and all that.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so ultimately, I'm not changing all that much about Neji. I'm keeping his backstory relatively the same. I'm keeping his rivalry with Lee the same. I mean, there's not a whole lot to change. And obviously, of course, he and Hinata have to face off in that battle that I feel like I keep changing my opinion on, no matter how many times I watch it. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it.
It's one of those that, I mean, it's supposed to be two members of the current, I guess, strongest clan in the Leaf fighting each other. One is the side branch, but is the prodigy, and the other is the next head of house, but not necessarily as gifted.
Yes, and we can even keep the thing where he tries to kill Hinata, and everybody jumps in to try and stop him. And Lee goes on to Naruto and says, "As the hardworking person beating the talented genius. Isn't that something interesting that you'd like to see? Of course, I'd like to do it, but I'd be fine with you doing it as well. Keep all of that. The only thing that really starts to change is the tuning exams. That's where, in my opinion, where things kind of have to change."
Yeah, specifically the open tournament, I would say. Not That's kind of where we see, I think, the biggest issue. We've talked about this fight, I think, a lot, that we're
Yeah,
about to start it.
and look, I'm going to say that it's like, even taking away the idea that, in hindsight, Neji was right. Hey, taking out the fact of, everything Hinata went through, everything Lee went through to an extent, just looking at this from a straight up, just regular fight perspective, it's not a very good fight. Hey, Neji destroys Naruto the whole time, and Naruto keeps up and it wins in the end. It didn't do a good job of making Naruto look like the better fighter, because he lost at almost every encounter. Neji was stronger, Neji was smarter, and Neji just fought better.
Yeah, again, we still need something that kind of pushes Neji in the right direction, but having him lose to Naruto, who his biggest technique at this point is shadow clone and summoning jutsu. That's, I think, all he has at this point.
One of those he didn't even use.
Yeah, I know. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's always what's kind of rubbed me the wrong way because almost everybody, with the exception of Shikamaru, because he was going to fight Dosu before Dosu died, almost everybody knew who they were going to go up against. And yet Naruto never once mentioned to Jiraiya, "Hey, I'm going up against Neji." From the Hyuga clan. You think Jiraiya's a smart guy. You'd like to think he might have a way of dealing with that. So the biggest change, in my opinion, and Naruto loses to Neji.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that. I do want Naruto to lose in a really like almost heroic way, like very similar to I guess Lee's ending with Gara, where he's still kind of standing but is defeated.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like somebody posted that the Shadow Clone punch from the ground should have been the turnaround, not the end of the fight. And that's and heck, he could even get that shot in and like fuse his fist with Nine Tails chakra to like really mess up Neji, but that's it. And Neji's just barely able to get up. I understand that a lot of people in the crowd were like, "Oh, well, Naruto doesn't have a chance." And so him winning could be cathartic, but even him showing that he got close, in my opinion, would have been good for him, especially considering in hindsight, that match didn't matter because the Konoha crush arc started.
Yeah, it was what, like 4 episodes later or something.
Something along
It's rid
those
of that.
lines. I rewatch that arc all the time, and even I'm kind of like, dang, we can't get one shooting exams where just everything goes smoothly.
Yeah, and the one time I think we kind of do, it ends up being a filler 5 minute thing, and Naruto ends up cheating and not getting promoted.
Something like that. But like I said, we said Neji would win, but he does gain a little bit of a respect for Naruto. And Hayashi even tells him about his father Hizashi and just says, "Hey, your father's the one who sacrificed himself. Nobody made him. It was his choice," which I still don't know if I love from a storytelling perspective because it still makes me think that Neji might be in the right to some degree, but I don't know. I don't know. Oh, but even with that, Neji does look at a little bit of a slower pace. He does start to change.
Yeah, I would want him in more story arcs before we get him again at the Sasuke retrieval mission. I would say just doing little things that seem different, not a full transformation, but maybe show him like visiting Lee in the hospital, something he probably didn't do while uh up until this point, but
Yeah, or
he actually goes and visits Lee.
heck, you could even have Lee trying to do push-ups like he would always do while the nurses are all like, hey, please rest up. And Neji could be like watching from the sideline. It's because when Lee went 8 gates against Gara, Neji was kind of shaken by that. And it's not, even though they had differing philosophies, he never outright hated Lee. When the Sound Ninja were about to kill him, Neji showed up and threatened the Sound Ninja. We're like, "Hey, what are you doing with our teammate?" He did care about him to an extent, even with differing philosophies, but that could be a way of him. We slowly start to see him opening up because in the beginning, when all three of them are put in Team Guy, Guy asks Tenten, "What do you want to do with your life?" She says, "Oh, I want to be a strong, follow in the footsteps of strong Kunoichi." And Neji just says, "I'd rather not say." Maybe at this point, he's slowly starting to open up and realize, I kind of want to change the perception of the Hyuga clan because Naruto said he wanted to do it, and even in Boruto, apparently he hasn't done that great of a job of it.
Yeah, that would be give him a solid goal that is actually fully defined because he really doesn't. A lot of the others have specified goals um, and stuff that they want to do, but not really with Neji. Even after this, he wants to become strong, and we know that. That's about it that we get to learn about him.
Supposedly in my rewatch, he did say he wants to get stronger to protect people around him, but like it feels like everybody kind of has that. Like to me, he could kind of. And I want to get into this a little later. He kind of could have taken a page from Gara's book, like the I've treated people horribly before, so now in a sense I want to get stronger because I kind of owe them in a sense. And like people rip on the show every now and then, but there's an episode of Rock Lee and his Ninja Pals where where he meets up with Hinata, and Tenten's like, why are you so into helping Hinata? Weren't you pretty hard on her before? And he actually expresses guilt for it. He feels bad. And so the rest of the series, he actually is doing his best to help her with some comedic hijinks because that's the show, but it was still nice to see.
Yeah, I could really see it being told through kind of the Rock Lee story of all of a sudden Neji's kind of started showing up and all that to Rock Lee. I could see Rock Lee going in for surgery and right before the Sasuke retrieval mission, and Neji's there wishing him luck and a quick recovery. And then when they recover everybody from that, we get the opposite. Neji's getting wheeled into surgery or whatever, and Rock Lee's there for him now that
Yeah. It's always weird about that because in the anime they just straight up like as they're recruiting people for the Sasuke retrieval arc, they just say like Neji just says, "Oh, Lee, your surgery. I heard it went well." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." Well, that's a major plot point that they're kind of just addressing, but in the manga, they say that Lee's about to go into surgery, which makes it all the more impressive that he shows up to save Naruto from Kimimaro. So if we kept it the same way of it's just like, oh well, Lee's about to go into it could work. It could work either way. Obviously, I think I prefer the manga version, but with what we're doing, it works either way.
yeah, well that's just it. It just kind of he knows maybe that Neji knows he's going on this mission. He's already gotten word about it. He's felt he had to stop by to wish Lee a good or I guess a good surgery, a quick recovery.
Yeah, yeah. We don't really like. I feel like he's kind of handled perfectly in the Sasuke retrieval arc, especially when he tells everybody to leave and he says, "Naruto, sometimes your eyes are even stronger than mine." And that's kind of the first time someone's like, "Whoa, he really changed over the past, I guess, couple of months." I don't know the timeline between, I guess, the tuning exams and the Sasuke retrieval arc because there's a lot that happens in between that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really only shown to be a couple days in the anime, but it's implied that it's much longer.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. He beats Kidomaru. He beats Kidomaru. He has his major surgery. You can even have Lee there, Lee and the rest of them kind of wishing him all. You could even have Lee and Guy go really over the top with trying to wish him good luck. And Tenten's like, guys, he already had his surgery. Like he's okay. He's okay now.
Yeah, I could see them bringing like there's just a whole gym in his room just from like gifts from Lee and Guy, just bringing in weight equipment for Neji.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then can they even be like, oh, we even made some of your favorite food. We even made some of your favorite foods, and it's nice because it was shown that Guy would take them all out to dinner and stuff like that, so they can get a good feel of what Neji likes, and he could, and at this point, he considers them his friend, and heck, maybe he even apologizes to Tenten at some point because while he wasn't specifically horrible to her, she's very much in Rock Lee's situation of, hey, Tenten was not a megastar when she was born. But and you could argue, well, at the current arc they're in, she's still not one. But she's significantly stronger now than she was back then, and that was a result of a lot of hard work. Her like destiny had nothing to do with it. She just got legitimately stronger. So he could even tell her to an extent that he's proud of her.
Yeah. I mean, that might be another video for another time, is fixing Tenten.
I don't know. I don't know how much I have for that. To me, Neji, Lee, Kiba, those are the ones in my head right now. Ten's going to take a while.
Yeah, it's just a video of us saying she needs more screen time.
Yes, yes, and honestly, considering it's the anime, we can keep. I don't want to throw out the Curry of Life arc. It doesn't do anything for his character, but it just makes me laugh.
I could see it being one of those that um him being more open to trying the Curry of Life when they get to the little rest stop area, and just him going, wow, this actually isn't bad. Like, while everybody else is reacting to it, he's just eating it.
I still can't believe that Curry killed him before Obito ever did. That's horrifying. Hey, but in regards to Lee, I actually would have that Lee is still trying to beat Neji. He still has done this at this point. And in the video games, I brought it up before. He has a technique called the Last Resort 8 Gates Assault. Supposedly it would completely shut off completely shut off different points of your chakra, and with enough implication, it's heavily implied that if you had an 8 gates transformation, he would be able to shut it off. So both in the sense of, oh, maybe he could save Lee before he went too far in a battle, or if they're training against each other and Lee goes all out, Neji says, haha, no.
Yeah, I could. This would be an interesting one, seeing like maybe he I'm trying to think. Maybe he gets it from Guy, like he starts learning it because Guy talks him through, like lets him know that Lee is getting close to unlocking the eighth gate, and uh it's Neji's way of trying to protect him and prevent him from forcing that gate open.
Yeah. Yeah, but also in the sense of Neji being like, look, we're friends, I care about you, but I'm not letting you surpass me that easily. Unlike Guy and Kakashi, where it seems like they go back and forth on who wins and who loses, I want Lee to finally get his win over Neji, but it takes a good while. Like they could face off a lot, but the last time, not the last time, but the more recent times, Lee finally gets his win. But that's more of a for a Lee video than Neji. That's just something I'm throwing in.
Yeah, I could see it. I think it would be kind of funny to get like a younger version of the Kakashi and Guy storyline throughout this entire series.
Say, hey, and heck, like even through the filler of the tuning exams where everybody got promoted, but I would keep the idea that Neji gets a double promotion. But in kind of a touching moment when you watch the episode, they say everybody gets promoted. Oh, and by the way, Lee, 10, you both get promoted to tuning too. And before they can celebrate, they both look at Neji like, hey, but we're all for one for all. What about Neji? It's like, oh no, you guys are set. Neji's getting a double promotion. He's a Jonin. And I would keep that. I'd keep that because one, the arc did show that Neji was actually super helpful in that. And it's just a nice moment because it shows that even if they can compete with each other, Lee has Neji's back and vice versa.
Mhm. Yeah, they end up being really good because I'm thinking back to like the um Kazakage retrieval arc or recovery arc or whatever they call it. That uh they actually have become more of a team rather than individual members trying to work together. I mean, they do separate out to face their clones, but it's still kind of just different.
Yeah, I still I thought of 100 different ways of fixing that because I don't feel like anybody likes that part, but even I couldn't figure out anything.
I mean, I could see it being one of those things like them fighting against the clones, and the clones think have only copied kind of like their uh, base level of power, and just they kind of just swap around, and you get to watch Lee beat Neji. It's base Neji versus like fifth gate Lee or something, but he still beats him, and then Neji just goes, it just is mocking the clone, saying you're nowhere near Lee's actual level and stuff. I think it could be kind of cool.
Yeah. I kind of thought it is kind of similar to that episode of Teen Titans where in Raven's arc, and they end up and like we get Cyborg versus Eat Clone Beast Boy and that sort of thing, and it could lead to some good stuff. But the problem with Shippuden is Neji's really not in it all that much, especially with the filler. There's literally an episode where Naruto points out that Neji's not around compared to Lee and Tenten, and Neji says that's because I'm on missions. I'm a Jonin. But in my case, show that. Show the more dangerous types of missions Neji goes on as a Jonin. Hey, maybe he's not necessarily having his own team of Genin because he's still young, but maybe something happens with Ebisu Sensei and he's in charge of Konohamaru's squad.
Like a filler, kind of like what uh Yamato did throughout the series.
Yeah. Or there was that one filler episode in the original series where all of the Genin got their own group of academy students, and Neji was actually shown to be good with like directions and looking at compasses. It could be something similar to that. It doesn't have to be Konohamaru's squad per se. They were just the only kids I could think of.
I think they're the only ones that are really named in that generation. We have to jump to Boruto's generation to find out anything about any of the younger kids past that.
Yeah, yeah, but it could just be a good sense. It could even be a sense of some people being like, "Oh, well, he's powerful, but he's still a sot." Like Branch member, are we sure we can count on him? And of course, the mission succeeds in the end, and the kids could even say, "Hey, Neji Sensei, you were so cool," and he'd get a little bit flustered about it.
I could see it. I think him. What are we leaning towards him being a like looking at being a teacher or something? Like, as he could,
Not completely, but I had an idea for how I wanted this to go down. But a teacher could be kind of what I was thinking, but not. We'll get to it.
okay.
And heck, for Jutsu, the one thing that's always bothered me. So let me see if I get this straight. The Byakugan can see through just about anything, has 359 degrees of vision, and you can scope out whatever you want. And you decide to exclusively use close range combat. What?
Yeah, that's very true. It's always been one of those, I don't know, weird things. I don't know if it's implied in the manga or not that it might have like you can see details much better closer up and then see things when you things further out get more blurry, but that's never really implied in the anime, so I don't know if that's a thing or not.
Yeah. And I guess the thing for me is they use that airwave attack, and it's a cool looking move, but it's also but I don't know. I guess to me, I always wondered, what if you compressed it to like a little tiny wave and hit somebody's pressure points? Isn't that a lot more useful in a sense? Or heck, learn lightning styles, something. They said that Neji knows a couple of different styles, but we just never see that.
I could definitely see thinking back on it because we only really got one I think that's Senbon, the needles. Imagine if Neji had picked up the needles like as his like side weapon or something and used them as like to hit pressure points at a distance.
Yeah, yeah, I would actually really like that. Heck, Tsunade had a technique where if she hit you would be like Kabuto said, "What did you do to my body?" Tsunade's like, "Oh, I mess with your nervous system. If you try to move your left arm, your right leg's gonna start moving." You're telling me Neji couldn't have picked up something even 1/8 similar to that?
Yeah, there's a lot Neji thinking back on it, it's like wow, he just chose to not learn anything unique.
Yeah, and the sucky thing is his 8 trigram 64 palms, that should be a death sentence. But the fact that Naruto got up from it, Kidomaru to an extent got up from it, like I guess there's 128 palms, but I don't know.
Yeah, but there I wish that again that got seen more, even if they had Hinata use some of these moves, because I mean she uses her twin line fists and a few of the like weaker versions of moves and stuff that we see that Neji use in like the first fights that we see him in. But
Yeah, I will at least give them credit. Their fighting styles and techniques did feel different from each other. Like they didn't just feel like copy paste. Like it's like, oh well, Hinata's is more protected. It could be more protective. It no, actually no. Oh, Hinata's was actually a bit more aggressive at times, while Neji was like, I have the ultimate defense. So they kind of played off of each other.
yeah, something I do wish that they had gone into is like Neji tried to shrink that field of vision, or at least find better ways of hiding it throughout the series, so that it's implied that he can pretty much has full 360 even without that 1% or 1 degree of
Yeah.
loss. That would be
He
interesting.
yeah, he wouldn't even have to have done it for like the whole battle. Like he could have unlocked if I put enough focus in my chakra, I can have 360-degree vision for I don't know, 5 minutes, but after that it cancels out. Something like that could just show, wow, he really is a genius when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Give him something unique that isn't just a, a member of the Hyuga clan's jutsu, because that's feels like all he has is he doesn't use anything other than Hyuga jutsus.
there's a Naruto game where he openly uses like fire style and water style, and even as a kid I thought, why the hell is he using water style and fire style? He has all the Hyuga stuff, but then I got older and I'm like, wow, he never used any of that. That's weird.
It'd be really kind of cool had it's something that I just thought of. It's like uh, I'd love to see like Naruto showing off the Rasengan and he just goes like this and holds it up perfectly because he already pretty much has perfect chakra control and all and shape and form and all that.
And people are just like, wait, is that a Rasengan or is that just your rotation? I'm like, well, it's basically the same jutsu. Isn't my rotation more impressive because it's all around my body? It's just like, I don't, yes, no, yes. Let's just say yes.
The only issue with that his is that it makes him or I was gonna say it makes him just it's like your body's spinning the entire time, but for him
Yeah.
that's actually probably an advantage.
Yeah, but like we said, we could see him going on important missions. Heck, there's a character. I'm blanking out on his name. I'm blanking on his name. But he was part of the fifth. He served under the fifth Mizukage. Okay, and his deal was killing a Hyuga and stealing his Byakugan. I would love to have seen an interaction between those two, maybe a fight. Because the guy doesn't end up dying till Boruto supposedly, but it still would have been interesting in the case of this guy has stolen Byakugans before, and that's part of the reason that seal exists on his head. So Neji going up against him and potentially even at least going to a stalemate or hell even winning could have been awesome.
Something a mission I just thought of that we could have seen like Neji leading would be right after Pain's assault, we see him be the one leading the team to bring the fire daimyo over to the village to select the next Hokage
Yeah, that
and
could
kind of serving as security and all that for him.
yeah. Heck, it could have been a Lee, Neji, and Tenten mission. It just to be like, well, guy has to do this other thing, but this is also just a major test to see, like, can we really count on you? Because this is an incredibly important mission.
Yeah, so just have little things like that sprinkled throughout where we get to see him running things as his rank implies that he should be able to. Because unfortunately, that's the one thing I find disappointing with a lot of after the time skip and all that is that they're supposed to be at least considered average in tuning level, or some of them are Jonin, so they're considered the elite, and yet they're still working on their teams that they were as Genin.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily, and the teams didn't necessarily have to split up permanently, but just the fact that even the original series would do this better, where it's like, oh, it's Naruto, it's Ino, and it's Shino on a mission led by Anko. That's not the combination I ever thought I'd see together, but like it makes sense to switch it up, especially as they get older and they start progressing and getting better.
Yeah, I mean, there's still like the teams that they have the most chemistry with, which would probably be their original teams. I mean, the Shikacho and all that stuff, but you have to be able to work with the other ninja, and they showed that a lot in the filler between after the Sasuke retrieval arc and the end of the original anime. So
Yeah. Yeah, but also just have him interact with Hinata and Hanabi born. Maybe he's personally helping with Hanabi's training because in the original version, like they show that Hanabi's supposed to be taking over the Hyuga clan, and but I feel like we get little to nothing with Hanabi. So it's well, if there's a chance she's going to take over, maybe Neji teaching her would actually be helpful. Well, because I don't feel like we got that much interaction between the two.
yeah, and I could see Hanabi having a bit more of a maybe a dark side, not evil or anything, but just having been raised a different way or having being kind of a prodigy or something as well, and but being from the main house, she views herself as better than Neji, even though he's older and physically stronger at this point than her, and she's constantly trying to undermine him at every step, and that they're having to have some sort of story arc where she has a change of heart and becomes a better person.
I still don't. I'm still kind of flabbergasted that they made her this happy-go-lucky, somewhat flirtatious person. I'm not against her character. The little bit of Hanabi I've seen, I still like her, but it's just such a dramatic shift from everybody else in that family.
Well, she was portrayed when they showed her in the original series when she was not hadn't even made the rank of Genin yet, as she was she was better than Hinata, not as good as Neji, but had that more but had the mentality of the rest of the Hyuga, very stoic, and your duty is you are now going to be the head of the clan, and the rest must follow you regardless of that. And then
Yeah.
that just kind of goes away because she
Yeah, and
disappears.
Shippuden, I guess maybe she sees Neji being nicer to Hinata, so maybe that changes her mind. I don't know. She doesn't get that much screen time, and this isn't her video, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can see though. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how they would interact. I could definitely see it being one where there being a full arc maybe of transitioning the Hyuga over to being more open about uh the side branches being strong and all that.
Yeah, and there could even be an arc of them dealing with the hidden cloud because they're the ones who were responsible for the death of Neji's dad. And Neji could be kind of uncomfortable around them. There could be like a little bit of hostility, only for him to meet Killer B, who doesn't have a hostile bone in his body. And not to say they become best friends or anything, but they do become it does show that Neji is able to make allies with the people he chooses to.
Yeah, I could really see this being. I'm trying to think of who else in the Akatsuki that we didn't really get a good episode. I mean, maybe if it's during the time skip, it's some of the Akatsuki members we see that are part of the original group that aren't there anymore, and it's Neji and Killer B having to work together to kind of figure out what to do there.
Yeah, yeah, and I that's always the thing that like I do have it leading to something where it's like, oh, Neji's able to make the best of these situations. Neji's able to showcase what he can do. Neji's working with Genin as a Jonin. Like I said, at this point, closer to the end of Shippuden, I do want it could even be right after the war, but I guess we have to talk about that. The war. You see, this is my problem with Neji's death. We've talked about before. Not Neji dying is not necessarily the issue. Him dying to bring Naruto and Hinata closer is somewhat of the issue. But the main issue is you killed this character and you did nothing with them. So we're all kind of like, huh, what was the point?
Yeah, again, maybe if we had gotten everything we've talked up to about this, where we got to see Neji as this grow from being the kind of angsty, I'm going to get as strong as possible and pretty much destroy my own clan, to pretty much wanting to help everybody and grow and protect everybody. Maybe we would be more justified, but still, the way they do his death is still always bothered me.
Yeah, yeah, but for the sake of this video, it's a lot more interesting, at least in my opinion, if he's still alive at this point.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but again, someone from kind of the main cast has to die. Are we making it Guy in this situation again?
Honestly, it could work either. Like a lot of people, a lot of people have kind of turned me around on the idea that Hayashi should have been the one to die and be like, "Hey, you were the side branch, but I'm the main branch." But that shouldn't matter. When somebody you love is in a crisis, you help them out, even if it could potentially mean the cost of your own. I think from a storytelling perspective, that would make the most sense. It's just that the reason people say guys should have happened because it's like, well, it's the eighth gate. Not that I don't know. I don't know. I think the Hayashi death makes more sense from like a narrative and a character development standpoint, and a growth for Neji and both him and Hayashi. But I don't know.
Yeah, I could, with how big the Hyuga clan is depicted to be by comparison to a lot of the other clans. I mean, there's seems to be a ton of I could almost see it being something where like right before the war or something, they start transitioning to almost maybe like a where it's a whole bunch of families make up the clan and they decide their leader based on who they view as the most practical leader, and that changes from the hierarchical main branch family versus side branches and all that. And so it ends with kind of with Neji surviving, of course, as you said, and Neji getting named as the next head of the clan instead, because
Yeah,
he feels like he could actually be the leader.
no, that's the thing I was kind of building towards, in all honesty. That the
Okay.
like let's just say Hayashi dies in this sense, because even if had Guy died, it wouldn't have really motivated anything for Neji in a sense. But let's just say Hayashi at this point.
Okay.
All right, so you could even have Neji jump in, but have Hayashi jump in afterwards. And Naruto and Hinata and Neji can both like give Naruto that pep talk. And you can have Hinata and Neji kind of combine some of their attacks and show just how strong they are. Or the day's saved. I didn't come up with an infinite Tsukiyomi dream for Neji. Maybe just everybody's okay and they're all happy. I didn't come up with something for that.
I could see it just being that it's a world where the clans always treated every member of their side branches as equals, and his dad's still alive, and uh, the Cloud never attacked, so his uncle is also still alive. There you go.
Yeah. So very. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be that long. But during, I would also have during the, I guess the last period, like the in between period, hit Hinata, and like you could still have Hinata and Naruto end up as thing. It's perfectly fine, despite it wasn't built up that well. Oh, you could still have that, but you could also have Hinata and Neji doing their best to kind of see, okay, what steps could we do to showcase what the clan can be? How can we forge better relationships with people? Because the one thing about Naruto that doesn't, it seems like a lot of stuff like this happens through fighting, but it seems like Hinata's really smart and she's kind-hearted. So you'd like to think that she could also be instrumental in making sure the Hyugas can branch out to other people. And if we're keeping Boruto, a lot of Boruto the same, you could if Hinata's pregnant with Himawari and Boruto at some point in her life, it could lead to a really big moment of Neji being, like we said, the head of the Hyuga clan. It's not easy, and the person he goes to for that is Gaara. You can't tell me everybody was thrilled to have Gaara as Kazekage, but they could talk and could even become closer friends, and Gaara could kind of give him the wisdom he does with everybody else as to how to be a good leader.
And also tell him not to go to this barber because he's going to ruin your hair.
I wasn't even going to address that. I wasn't even going to address that. At this point, Neji's hair, he might need a haircut because his hair would be getting super long. Trust me, I'm starting to feel it. But him being the head of the Hyuga clan, they could even still name Boruto in like a really touching moment. I mean, because you can't tell me he'd be able to keep a straight face if they said, "Yeah, we named him kind of after you."
Yeah, I could see it being a nice moment there. And then I'm trying to think, like, I'm trying to think, besides being head of the Hyuga, I could see him being like how Shikamaru is Naruto's right hand as Hokage. I could see Neji being kind of the left hand. He does the more behind the scenes work for him, kind of the Donzo, but not evil by comparison.
Yeah. And heck, I would even have him being like, heck, he could even train Himawari because like everybody has said their headcanon is that Neji would have a soft spot for Himawari and maybe even I don't know the proper term for it, but he would shower her with a lot of love. So her kind of being like him training her would not be the craziest thing in the world, even if she's a little young, but he'd still find a way to make it work.
I could really see it being um in that like that 1 year later kind of time frame. She graduates from the academy and he's their Jonin for that. They've got experience from the war. He's now, if my calculations are right, he would be about 18 at this point, so he'd be kind of an adult at this point.
Yeah. Also, considering they had chemistry, like he and Ten could be married. I don't have much more than that, but like just like they seem like they'd make it work.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. I don't know. Again, it's fine. I don't necessarily need him to have a what like a oh, he married this person of the main group or something. He could have a
No,
life
just
separate or something
like
else. I don't know.
they both kind of roll their eyes at Lee and Guy together. They work kind of perfectly together. And like we said, Neji's arc was realizing destiny isn't like there's no destiny or anything. Anything. So him ending up with somebody who did nothing but work hard and push themselves when they start from nothing would kind of make sense.
I could see him like his gift to Naruto before the wedding is that he gives him like a traditional Hyuga kimono. I don't know what the marriage stuff is here, if it's a kimono or something different, but
I
I
don't
could see
know.
him giving that to Naruto as like that he's accepting him as a member of his family and all that. It maybe even is like the one his so maybe a member of the family. I don't know if it's his father or uncle or just
Yeah.
traditional style that they use.
Yeah. But like we said, like Naruto's kind of busy dealing with a lot of other stuff for better and for worse. So Hinata and Neji both being kind of the glue that makes the Hyuga clan better could have been awesome. And just the idea of, oh, you were a side member, but now you're the leader of the Hyuga clan. That could have been perfect.
And so does he have any changes in interaction during the oh god I forgot what it's called, the Last, the movie, Naruto the Last.
Probably not. Maybe he's maybe at this it wouldn't have to be nearly as extreme, but maybe it's teased that he knows about how Hinata feels about Naruto. He's not thrilled. He's not toxic about it, but he's not necessarily thrilled about it. But during the last, he's like, dude, what are you doing?
I can also see him being a little just annoyed at Naruto throughout it, because Naruto's getting all these gifts from random women and seems to not notice Hinata, and he's just not happy about that.
To be fair, I wasn't happy about it either. Like, dude, like it took you like 19 years to notice these girls' feelings for you. Dude, you suck.
Yeah. Ah, yeah, and then I mean, I don't know Boruto well enough to say, oh, he's Hokage now because Naruto's in some parallel universe and thought dead. I
No,
don't really understand all of that part. So
I don't know. I wanted to say I wanted to give Boruto another chance, but I can't. I'm tapping out. I can't do it.
yeah, it was already a long. It's like people who say that they want other series of One Piece. It's like once the One Piece story's over, I don't really want any more in that world unless it's like a major shift in some form.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, apparently the Otsutsuki's or whatever the hell they're supposed to be called, their main weakness is taijutsu. So you want to know what to do with Neji? Just keep him around, keep him strong. There's not much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, he could pretty much be one of the taijutsu masters of the leaf. I mean, like him and Lee each have like a different style of using taijutsu, but they're both like the number one and number two. They just at this point they're kind of evenly matched. It just keeps like they're each year it changes which one's stronger because the
Yeah.
other one works harder at it.
And Lee is super competitive, and Neji's like, I'm not interested in competing. But deep down, if he ever loses to Lee, he's like, oh crap.
It literally changes from he was a prodigy, but now he's one of the hardest workers in the entire leaf.
Yes.
I could see them having like how Kakashi and Might Guy's fights were or little battles were, but theirs can end up being actually destructive because they just go overboard when they do it sometimes.
Unfortunately, I could sadly see that happen. And for some of you might be thinking to me, hey, how would you, but what about the Rock Lee show? How would you change him in that? I'm like, I wouldn't. It's perfect. Nothing.
Again, if some of his personality there had seeped into the original series, that might not necessarily be a bad thing. I mean, from what I remember of the episodes I've seen of it, he's can be a little stupider than his character is in the show, but maybe not that part needs to necessarily happen. But overall, he can be fine.
Yeah, in all honesty, it did showcase moments where he was nice to Hinata and gave her advice. Nice. It did have legitimate character moments. Heck, you could even kind of bring up that Naruto is basically a messiah, and Neji's like, huh, what was that whole thing about destiny that I was saying that you said was a load of bullcrap? What's going on, buddy?
Yeah, I just find out that you're like the 100th reincarnation of the guy who founded ninjutsu.
And you also have the most powerful fox and the most powerful tailed beast in history. Not to mention your mom's an Uzumaki with a ton of chakra. Like, there's too much about this. I think I won that fight. I'm like, well, Neji, in our universe, you did win that fight, so congratulations. You didn't become a Chunin at that point, but you still won.
I could. We could go completely off the rails and have him be the reincarnation of their uncle.
Oh, sweet. Oh, good. Oh, goodness. We're getting into fanfic territory. I don't know. I don't know if I'm loving this.
All right. Well, let's just wrap it up because I think we've gotten a pretty good place. I think keeping him alive, he's made it to head of the clan as one of the kind of leaders of the village. Fixed his relationship with a lot of people, and he's now just he's more open to his friendships and stuff.
Yeah, yes. He still keeps aspects of his personality. He's not the goofiest guy or anything, but we're fine. We're developing him enough to where had he died, I'd still be sad because I would have liked the character, and I don't like my favorite characters dying, but it would have made sense. But we're keeping him alive, we're keeping him doing stuff, and we're putting him with 10-10. I know a lot of you were probably hoping for that, so here, I'll throw you a bone.
Yeah, I don't know who else he could be with because I don't know enough of the other characters, so that works fine for me.
Him and Lee, I mean, probably not, but I don't know. People like Guy and Kakashi together, so I'm not judging.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, they never really implied anything with Neji, so it doesn't really matter. Put him with whoever you want.
Yeah. I unless it's like Neji and Shino, because I'm like, I don't even know if they've shared dialogue together. But who knows?
Yeah, All right. But you have anything else you want to go over for this?
No, just this first time we've done a video like this before. I kind of like doing it. Hopefully we haven't gotten kidnapped by the next time we want to do this.
Yeah, we've got we got some Naruto characters. I think there's some characters we want to throw in for maybe Dragon Ball and stuff that we can probably do.
Yeah. Just maybe when I finally get Fairy Tail a chance, I'm like, oh, Richard, this character kind of sucks, and Richard will be like, oh, in all the years I've been watching, I never noticed this person didn't do anything. I'm like,
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that.
But Neji, we did our best to fix them. Sadly, this can't become canon unless it's just a total rewrite, but who knows? Let us know if you guys like this version better.
Yeah, and I mean, how would you fix him? Do you think he even needs to be fixed? Let us know.
I guess people are allowed to have that opinion. I'm allowed to disagree, but that's what makes the world a nice place. But just let us know what you think. How would you fix Neji? What other Naruto characters would you like to see us talk about fixing? Just let us know.
Yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
That's correct. And have some curry of life, but just please be careful with it. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.